Hey, so today I'm going to be talking about the Plush Wars soundtrack. And I know that's not going to be the most exciting video you've ever seen, but it's something I was proud of. And I don't make game soundtracks often, and I know I'm not that great at making music, but there's an interesting story behind the soundtrack, and it means a lot to me, and I think you might be interested in the history. If so, stick around. So let's start with the theme song. I would argue that's the most important part of the soundtrack. It was the first one that was made. So, what about the name? Where did that come from? Plush Town. Well, you might think, the game's called Plush Wars. It probably named it after the game, right? Well, not really. Actually, it's the other way around. The game was inspired by the song. And how did the name come before the game? How does that make any sense? Well, it's kind of by luck. On August 1st, 2015, we uploaded a video on my brother's YouTube channel called Plush Town. And in that video, it was just us being kids. We just play with plushes, you know, kid stuff. But it's the only video that I really have that we made at the time, because the rest of them are on this old tablet that we smashed. So they're gone, but this one's still up. I'll give you a little clip here.
And then this guy, oh, he's my favorite.
Yeah, he's so cute. Just look at his feet.
So what's the significance of this random video we made when we were younger? Well, there isn't really any, it's just a video. But I did make a song on November 15th, 2019, named after that video. It didn't really have a whole lot to do with it, but I just thought I'd keep that in my memory. So how did we get from old song to slightly less old song to new game with new song? Well, one day in Starplex, my Discord server, I share it with Vinny by the way, I got bored. But I just happened to not be busy with any projects at the time, and I asked the Discord, hey, I want to make a game. Do you guys want to help me with the idea? And that spiraled out of control. That became a 9-month project called Plush Wars. But it wasn't originally called Plush Wars. We didn't think we would have a toy and plush style. The plush style actually didn't come just from this video, but it just came from our childhoods in general. I was thinking of what kind of style I could pick for my life. If you make something as a passion project, you better know a lot about what you're making. The only reason I thought of that in the first place was because I was looking through my old music to see what kind of soundtrack could I make for this game. I think the soundtrack is important, and I'm going to be the one making it because it's a passion project. I eventually landed on this Plush Town song, and I was like, this means a lot to me, and it's named after an old video. There's some lore here. I also thought, hey, I never used this song for anything. Just like a lot of my other songs, they were really just made because I was bored. But this one in particular had a catchy theme, and it had this connection with my past and childhood. The dots connected, and this really complete the puzzle for us. Of course, eventually, the game did evolve out of this passion project, and I did work on it with Vinny, and we developed it all the way through. But originally, it really just was this cool little idea. So what did the early game look like? We did come up with ideas on how the game would play, and we came up with solutions for problems, but it's less of a community game than it is just something I was missing. Because when I was younger, there was this game called Happy Wars, and if you're one of the lucky few to remember it, thank God there's someone else in this world who knows what it is. I just haven't seen it done in the same way that I did when I originally played that game, probably back around the same time this song was made. So, what did the game look like in the beginning? Well, it had some development stages, but that's not actually where it begins. It goes all the way back to some of our earliest projects. We tried to make this game around 5 times until we even got past the first stages of development, but finally, when Plush Wars came around, we got all the way through. So let's show you a little bit more of those early projects. So this was the first iteration of I call it the Happy Wars kind of like games. And this one's called HWRE. I think it stands for Happy Wars Remake. This one was created on the 28th of January in 2018. And as you can see, this is what we were able to do in 2018. Next game! This one's actually a little bit interesting. It's called DVZ. What does DVZ stand for? Well, it's actually based on this old Minecraft server where there was a game mode called Dwarves vs. Zombies. And it's really freaking cool! Anyway, this one was created on the 28th of April in 2018. So not really much longer after, it was only 3 months after. Let's play it. So this one actually got a little bit further developed, as you can see. So this big purple crystal in a ball is what you're supposed to be protecting. And as you can see, I can build, just like Plush Wars. But I can't actually build too close to it because there's a limit. So I can only build within a certain distance. Oh, that's not good. How did we not notice that? I'm assuming the enemies were supposed to break these. These were the barriers. I guess the monsters would spawn here. And there's a little guy to represent. Hey, you're a monster. Hey, how you doing? They go in. They're like, alright, we gotta break in the freaking castle. And then they attack this. You get the idea. Next game. This next game was made on April 8th of 2020. So it's been quite a while since the last games. And the reason for that is because failed projects. Anyway, this one's called Infection Project because the original Minecraft game mode is kind of like Infection. Let's try it out. This one actually got pretty close to working. So we got, oh, you have these. I guess these are hot bars. So yeah, you can build. You can build. That's pretty much it. I like to use triangles for fire because it's, you know, the fire triangle, the chemical thing. So there's a few things here. You got this team block that only your team can walk through. You got the big blocks. These are the ones that you build your base with. And you can delete them. I don't think much was really done. I mean, you got this little armor thing, you got hammer. It looks good, but it's just, you should never do this. You should always make the gameplay and the game. You need a game before you can make the polish. You know what I mean? You need the nail before you put the polish on. Anyway, next game. The next game was Plush Wars. Now, it's been a while. This game was created on the 26th of June in 2021. It's been at least a year since the other game was made. And you may look at this and be like, oh wow, it took them a year to make this? Yeah, I guess it did. Oh wow, it took them a year to make this. Wow, that must mean it's a good game. That means you should play it. You should play it! You could be one of those 44 people in the game. Alright, let's talk about the original version of this game, because I'm one of the few people who has access to that, and I'm going to show you. So let's take a look. Is it unloading? Wow, I look like a typical teenager now. Alright, let's fix this. So we're in studio now, and you can see that we're on place version 6091. And in order to see the version history, I have to hit this button. And I have to scroll. I'll see you when we get to version 5. Okay, that was a lot of scrolling. By the way, every time I scroll, it only loads 10. So I had to scroll for a while. But here we are. We're at the first versions of the game. Let's start with the last version on June 25th, 2021. Next version. Alright, now we have this. We have some basic facial animation. But I think that's everything. I mean, just this. Next version. We got some animation. So these were the first versions of the animations. And we do have what looks like blinking. Just basic blinking. It's pretty much identical to what we got now. I guess the first thing I did was the rig. There's no effects or anything. There's no building, but I'm sure we'll see that soon. The next day, it looks like I added some effects. So this is when I had the dash effect and the footsteps. That seems to be all. Oh, there's also a jump trail. Next version was on June 29th. Okay, so it looks like this is what I remember. So there's two giant platforms, and these, oh god, and these are the build zones for the teams. So this is blue, this is red, and this is when we went public, where we were like, alright, anyone can join, come help us test. So you also see these, if you might recognize them. This is the button, this is the candy that I horribly textured, and this is the magic ball, the magic 8-ball. But these were the first models that I made for the game, and the first models I put textures on for a long time. But unfortunately, it doesn't look like building is ready yet. Let's move on to the next day. Ah yes, the hotbar, I remember this. This is the original hotbar in the build system. So we got some basic stuff now. We got the pencil, the beloved pencil that everyone loves. We got this basic build system. It's pretty much identical to what we still work with. I think this is from the first devlog, if you remember that. I think when you break stuff, it still stays in one piece. Yeah, so this is the version that I remember testing with other people, because people would build all the way up to the sky, and they would break it, and it would just crush everyone. It would be stuck. You may also notice the map is way bigger. than what we ended up using. Oh, that was weird. So this is what people would do. So this is what people... There we go. That's what people would do. Alright, next. I think a lot of these versions now are going to be small stuff since we already got the basics. But I think a lot of the development went into making it work right. At this time, there were a lot of... Wait, I can attack now. You can't hold it down, but I was going to say there's a lot of bugs at the time. Here's something interesting. At this point in the game, when you attacked, it would attack at your mouse position. So if I attack here, you'll see me turn. That means you could attack downwards. As you can see, I could hit down. And that's not a feature because it sucks. You can just break down into bases. You don't want that. Next version. Okay, that doesn't work. Oh, it also looks like my head follows my mouse. You'll notice when I attack, if I run past where I'm attacking, it will change directions. And that's because I used to have it so like, oh, click here, you're attacking here. So if I walk, it's still pointing that direction. There's also the turning, so you can lean while you're walking. Gotta have it. It was at this point where we started to do less devlogs and more work, because a lot of work needed to be done. We needed a map, we needed like a round system, we needed team versus team gameplay, work that out somehow. We also needed music. I was like, okay, Plush Town, I have that song. I was gonna use it for this game, but I wanted to make it sound more cartoony, and I didn't like the original version. I've got way more practice now, and I can make something cooler, more fitting. So I went online and found this sample pack. So this sample pack is pretty simple. It's just a bunch of cartoon sounds, and here's an example. If that sounds familiar, it might be because it's probably used in the Plush Wars soundtrack pretty heavily. I wanted a way to make all the music sound similar, so I just decided to use the same samples. 15. So here we are. We're finally at the end point. We're at the soundtrack that came out of all of this mess of events. You may notice, why is a YouTube video uploaded on April 2nd? That was recent. Well, yeah. I didn't upload them here first. In fact, I'm probably going to upload them again to my music channel. Right there. I put these up on release day. So that's why it says April 2nd. If you want to see when I originally uploaded them and where I originally uploaded them, go on Newgrounds. So here's my Newgrounds. If you go to the latest audio and scroll down somewhere, you'll see these. The big one, the theme song, is up here too. I'm very proud of it. This was one heck of a journey, and it taught us a lot as developers. It taught us how to release a game instead of just working on something for a year, maybe 3 years, like Bone Sword 2. I'm glad a lot of you like it, but it didn't really succeed, and we have to move on from that. Sucks, I know, but it was ever only supposed to be a passion project. It wasn't supposed to make us rich. It's just Plush Wars. It's not Plush Wars Simulator. So, if you want to play a game that was clearly made with love, and it's not just a game trying to get your attention for money or something, although there are things you can spend your money on, give Plush Wars a shot. We're not planning on doing much more to it, but if you have a suggestion or you find a way to completely break the game, please let us know in the Discord. I'll put the link in the description. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that little story of how we went from bumbling idiots to not bumbling, but still idiots. Bye.